all of your stakeholders and sponsors, etc. And these will kind of guide us as we walk through the platform in just a couple of minutes as well. But these components are education, networking, and commerce. So first, education is that professional and or personal development that your attendees are gaining specifically through your content, right? This is your keynote sessions and your breakouts, your plenary sessions and your workshops, etc. Anywhere that learning is taking place. So if we think of an in-person event, we're typically seeing these take place in our presentation halls or our conference rooms. In the virtual environment, this is typically taking place through our webinar offerings. Maybe our speakers are presenting live, maybe your sessions are pre-recorded and you're letting them be available on demand. Maybe you have a combination of both. Maybe part of the session is pre-recorded and then you have a live Q&A, etc. The second element here is networking, and this is that relationship forming and building that's taking place between your attendees and between them and whoever else is involved with your event, your exhibitors and your speakers, etc. And in a physical venue, this is taking place in every corner of the space, right? At your welcome receptions, in your awards dinners, at your hallway conversations. These conversations are happening around the lunch table, at the water cooler, etc. In a virtual environment, we're typically going to see this networking taking place through our discussion forums, through any private messaging or chat features, as well as through live video meetings where attendees can see one another face to face. And we'll get into this a little bit later as well, but they hopefully have their cameras on, they're engaging with each other in that digital face-to-face environment. And then the third element here is commerce. And what we mean by that is the revenue value. I'm going to go ahead and cameras on, they're engaging with each other in that digital face-to-face environment. And then the third element here is commerce. And what we mean by that is the revenue value that's brought to you, our event host or organizer, when your sponsors and exhibitors buy in to support your event, which of course they're doing in exchange for the branding and marketing exposure that your event offers, as well as through the lead generation that they hope to gain through your attendees. At an in-person event, in a physical venue, we're going to typically see this on the trade show floor. We'll see this through any sponsorship signage that you have prominently displayed, maybe any collateral that you're handing out that has that sponsor placement, any branded communications, etc. In the virtual environment, through the Passable platform, we'll see this through our virtual trade show offerings, as well as through making the most of your digital real estate on your event website. We'll see in a few moments how customizable your event website is through Passable, and so making the most of the space that you have there to really elevate those sponsor brands and get those in front of your attendees. So it's that kind of backdrop going to be built through our widget-based user interface. I might be thinking about using for your up. So I'm going to switch my screen share over so we can take a look at a live view of the platform, which will be our Vision Summit event. So we're here on our homepage of our event website for Vision Summit 2020. Like I mentioned, this is taking place on specific dates, right? We want our attendees to be coming together in this digital environment at a shared time. If I'm doing this as an attendee, I can register for the event here on our homepage. We have an open API and can integrate with almost any of the major registration providers you may have used before or might be thinking about using for your upcoming event. So everything you're seeing here, from our fonts and our colors to the imagery and of course our sponsor logos, all of that is completely customizable to bring your brand to life. So your event site is going to be built through our widget-based user interface, and you're going to be able to mix and match throughout your site the parts and pieces that are going to best reflect your brand, that are going to best elevate your sponsor's exposure on your site, and really make that attendee experience exactly what you want it to be throughout your event. So if we scroll down here on our homepage, we'll see Vision Summit putting that best foot forward to over overview the event itself, to share maybe some speaker highlights or agenda highlights, etc. Once we get to the bottom of this page, we'll see that footer banner reminding us of the sponsor brands again. And you'll see throughout the conversation today, you'll see different opportunities to place those sponsor brands on different components of your site. But in the digital space, you're going to be able to create those sponsorship packages, those tiers and those levels that are going to, again, bring in that revenue for you as the event host, and also increase that exposure and visibility for your sponsors throughout your event site. So I'll do my best to point those out as we go here. So I mentioned that education, networking, and commerce would kind of guide us through the site today. So we'll start out on our event agenda here. So this is going to get us started in that education piece. So as an attendee, again, if I scroll through our entire event agenda here, I'm going to see all of our concurrent sessions that are available to me during Vision Summit. I'm going to see the different sessions that are color-coded based on track. You'll see marketing and branding and strategy. Of course, both those names and the colors of those sessions are going to be customized, however you would like to take care of that. You'll see that sessions have those green check marks. Those are those that I, as an attendee, have added to my personal agenda. And then, of course, any that are ready to go for me to add to my agenda are going to have that plus sign, so I can add those to my agenda as I go. And so I can scroll through and see everything this way. I can also navigate our agenda using our search functionality. So if I click here, I'm going to see our drop-down of our names, our tracks, our description, etc. I can search by speaker, search our sessions by speaker name if I'd like to do that, and filter through a number of different ways. As a marketing specialist, maybe I just want to see our marketing track sessions, and I can certainly do that way. So just making that experience in the agenda navigable for me as an individual and as an attendee to really customize that experience, right? So if I've gone through the entire event and added those sessions to my agenda that I plan to attend, I can go over here to my personalized agenda, where I'm going to see now that streamlined view of just those sessions that I'm planning to attend in one spot. And so I have that streamlined view, so I know exactly what the days of the event are going to be like for me. I'm going to click into Meryl Streep's keynote here for us. Just as a reminder, this has been tagged as a keynote as opposed to some of those tracks that we saw. It's got that color coding as well. We've also tagged it by topic, which we can filter for our different sessions as well. If we'd like to get really specific and granular with those as well, we can do that. So we've got our speaker here. And as a reminder, the session is taking place at a specific time on a specific date during the event. And this is regardless of whether the session is live or pre-recorded, right? Because even if we're offering this on demand, we still want attendees to tune in for that first time, as that is being played back for the first time all together, to be engaging and to be having that live experience, right? So we've got our time here. This session has been sponsored by both Amazon and Passable, so we've got that additional exposure for them here. And this is whether they're presenting in the session or if they're just kind of by name sponsoring the session. We're getting that visibility here on the session page. Our speaker has shared a little bit, which I've already done session, so I'm actually going to have that manage button as well, but I wouldn't if I were just a regular attendee. Meryl will have that manage button as well, and in that backend, she'll be able to upload any files that she'd like to, and that's where she's going to go to enter her green room once it's time for the session to start. So she'll be able to enter a green room up to 20 minutes prior to that session start time, so she can check her lighting, she can make sure that her mic is set up and good to go, she can get all ready so that once the session start time has arrived, she's ready to start that session and be ready to go. As an attendee, up to 1 minute prior to the session start time, I'll have a button that will pop up that will let me join live meeting. And so I'll be ready, also similarly ready to go, sitting there set up to watch the session itself. So we've got some of our interactivity features during the session itself down here on our page. First and foremost, we've got our chat functionality within the platform. So during our session, as it's ongoing, attendees can be chatting back and forth with each other, commenting, answering any questions that the speaker asks. asking questions of the speaker there, etc. So this, of course, if our session were live, would be lighting up, and those conversations would be ongoing. And this is available before, during, and after our session as well, if attendees would like to revisit later. We've also got our poll functionality, which is another potential opportunity to collect some of those questions, about job titles or corners of the industry that attendee education credits are, and revisit over and over. I'll point out quickly at the top of the page, we've got our light blue banner, which is our gamification feature. We'll take a deeper look at that a little bit later, but this is going to point out to me the activities that I can complete for points, as well as the number of points that these activities are, a little bit to some of our networking offerings here in the virtual space. So this is, but we'll take a look at our leaderboard a little later. So that's kind of our overview on the education front. I'm going to take us over to our attendee directory as we start to dig in a little bit to some of our networking offerings here in the virtual space. So this is where I'm going to see everyone else who is involved with Vision Summit here on our attendee directory. I'm going to see our speakers, I'm going to see our moderators, as well as all of our general attendees here at Vision Summit. I could certainly scroll through this manually all day if I had the time, which I certainly don't. And so a great first step to navigate, just like with our agenda, is going to be our search functionality here. You'll notice right away we've got a couple more attributes here. I can search by name, I can search by credentials if folks have shared that information, by title, company, etc. These ribbons are going to be these speaker notations here on these profiles that you see. And so we can use these a number of different ways. These are customizable by color and by title as well. So we can use these for event roles specifically. We can use these in a number of creative ways as well. We recently had a client who was really passionate about the networking aspect of their event. So they use these ribbons as a way to notate that an attendee was looking for a mentor or was willing to be a mentor. And so if you were looking for a mentor, you could certainly filter through and find the folks that you wanted to seek out and start that conversation with. So the possibilities for the use of that are really, really versatile and pretty endless there. So I can search a number of different ways like that. And so I'm going to actually search out a specific colleague of mine that will pretend is not a colleague for the sake of this conversation. Let's see if it will. There we go. So again, we've got Christina's profile image that she's uploaded. We've got her first and last name, her organization, and her job title. She's also got our speaker and her exhibitor ribbon. So when I come to her profile, she could share a bio if she'd like to do that, overviewing herself or what she hopes for from the event. But she's also tagged herself with a number of networking interests. This is another great conversation starter, right? We're both in the virtual event.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I just got my studio set up for Unity. I am talking on it. Do you mind jumping on Unity?
Yeah, no, not at all. That's what I've been waiting for. Give me 2 seconds, and I'll plug in here. Just 1 second. Man, why do these headphones turn into nuts all the time? Okay, give me just a second, sir. Okay, you want me to talk to you guys? I've got all 3 open. What? I know I have this written down, but you. Yeah, are you guys on 3? Okay, let me just dump 2. Check 1, 2 on the microphone. Yeah. Cool. Sure. See you.
Space in the event marketing space, and so I can start our conversation based on some of those interests. So a great first step to start that conversation would be for me to send her a private message here in the platform. Maybe I introduce myself and point out those shared interests that we have, and then I would send her that message. So once Christina receives that message, that's going to show up here in her bell icon as a notification. She'll also receive it here in her inbox within the platform. thirdly, she'll get an email notification to the email
Gotcha.
address that she's registered for the event under. So we can.
Okay, I hear you. Cool.